The one thought I had listening to this 45-minute speech was, don't we have bigger fish to fry? This is the Pete Hegseth who lobbied President Trump to pardon people who were convicted of war crimes.
It's unacceptable. It's overtly political and partisan.
I have another CNN panel for us to hop into, this time discussing the insane military generals meeting that Hegseth and Trump called before lecturing the troops about wokeness and other things as if we don't have far bigger problems. So take a moment, leave us a like on the video. It helps us out a ton, and let's get right into it.
The one thought I had listening to this 45-minute speech was, don't we have bigger fish to fry? Like China, like drone warfare, like Russia on the march. I cannot imagine that people's beards rise to the level of dragging all the military admirals and generals into Quantico for a lecture. I'm not understanding this.
Sounds like you're into the beardos.
I don't get it. Somebody explain it to me.
I think you're right. And I think that's the problem. It's unprecedented. It's unacceptable. It's overtly political and partisan. And if you watch that speech, whether you were a general or just someone on TV, you'd think that our enemies are fat generals, the city of Portland, Trump's political enemies, and DEI. And it's a really low point for the division that's supposed to exist between our partisan politics and our military.
I honestly, and this is no disrespect, I don't think MAGA is smart enough to really understand in real time that their incompetence put alongside their destruction of DEI that they boast about openly is giving the strongest case for DEI we've literally ever seen. You mean to tell me the same administration purposely firing diversity hires, implementing a historically undiverse administration, and specifically removing all DEI policies and not following anything DEI is the same administration that within months leaked classified battle plans? And in the same breath, the last administration, which they're claiming was riddled with DEI and only did diversity hires and prioritized DEI, never had anything of the sort comparably happen in 4 years? You mean conflicts are escalating under the undiverse administration that were stalled out under the diverse one? It's almost like that's been a massive failure, topped off by the fact that they're now calling a rally to sound off about wokeness in the midst of Russia launching the largest strikes into Ukraine we've ever seen. You have to love MAGA priorities.
When he says the stupid rules of engagement, let's also remember that this is the Pete Hegseth who lobbied President Trump to pardon people who were convicted of war crimes. So is that what we're saying? We're okay with war crimes now?
I mean, obviously we're okay with war crimes. We support a country that's committing atrocities right now.
But I mean, the United States military.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's saying the rules are actually written down. They're called the Geneva Convention. And most of the modern world and Western world abides by them because it's a code of conduct. It's what holds us above the standards of our enemies. But the audience was not the warrior class. It wasn't the generals. It was the TV cameras. It was the base. And maybe it was the world in some way because they wanted to say, look, we have control over the most powerful military on the planet. And there's nothing that the Democrats or the moderate Republicans or anyone else can do.
I mean, it's fascism, to be clear. Do we have to call it anything else at this point? And it's coming from the same people who are authorizing full force from the troops as they're marching them through only the cities that voted for their political adversaries. I mean, that makes it a pretty scary thing. It's coming from the people who have already broke international law, preemptively bombing Iran, a country that posed no threat to us. That makes it a pretty scary thing. I mean, he's essentially saying it's not a problem to me if you do war crimes, and we've moved past that as a world. It's something that should rub anyone wrong as a human being, especially as the human beings who proclaim to be religious. Would Jesus say, yeah, go ahead and bomb that hospital? Go ahead and shoot up that ambulance because they're not Americans and they're at war with you and that's all that matters. Who cares about those stupid rules of engagement? No, clearly, these are still people, these are still humans, and it's sick and demented that the chief, the leader, is signing off on inhumanity, on cruelty, on illegal stuff before it even happens. violence.
I'm not understanding. Why is that a problem for the war fighters and not the politicians who decided that the answer to that problem was war, a war that didn't make sense to fight, we couldn't
when
win.
I was governor, I was in Iraq.
That's a political problem, it seems like to me, not a military problem.
When I was in governor, I was in Iraq 5 times, Afghanistan 3 times. We had a chance to visit with lots of troops, including some special operators. And one of their complaints, among others, in terms of the rules and engagement, weren't always war crimes. They weren't advocating for war crimes, Paul, in fairness. They were just saying simple things like, we can't even do particular raids at night in certain compounds or situations. Now, that's a common sense thing. They like the stealthy nature of nighttime raids. But they felt they were being held back in certain circumstances, not all. There were certainly plenty of nighttime raids. And that's just one example. Maybe there are some rules of engagement that could be reviewed and improved upon.
And there's some people who said we want to go into mosques, for example. And there's this kind of twist that if you hadn't been hamstrung by these restrictive rules, we would have won in Afghanistan.
Right, and that's kind of just how these things work. You never do the big thing first, at least if you understand how to get it done. You get your foot in the door and then you work your way from there, which is exactly what they're doing. Oh, these night raids prohibit us. Then, not going in mosques prohibit us. Not bombing hospitals prohibit us, even though we know civilians and children are in there. Firing on civilians prohibit us, so forth and so on. And we literally see this with Israel, who did this. And now every time they bomb a school or a hospital or a refugee zone, which has been hundreds of times, it had to happen because of X, Y, or Z, right? And that's what MAGA is advocating to turn America into. And I'll be damned if the left is just going to let that happen. I mean, the warmongering right probably wants it to happen. They're trying to fully convert us into some hyper-militaristic fascist dictatorship that conquers all we see and just allows oppression because the oppressors are enacting their God-given rights or something. It's insane.